Greetings, Internet world, and welcome to my graphic editing software where I am putting together a concept for an endless runner mobile game. So the idea of this game is very much like several other popular endless runner games in which the player is immediately presented with the ability to jump straight into the game via this option here that says get to work, and from there they're presented with an office scene where they have to frantically run through it as these obstacles are coming down the screen toward them without hitting anything, and basically the longer that they survive without hitting things, the higher the score that they get. And of course, to make things a little more interesting and fun, there are two scores that are kind of competing against each other, because you'll have your positive points, essentially points awarded for successfully dodging these NPCs and the different furniture that is randomly spawning as you're running through the office, and the stupid points or negative points that are awarded if you run into any of these things. And essentially I have it laid out on my other screen here that the player hits different obstacles here, they will add different amounts of stupid points, as it were. I might rename this, we'll see. And then at the end, when you run into the boss, the game is over, you're essentially fired, and it counts up the total of everything that you successfully ran past without hitting and subtracts the total. I might have the math work a little differently. Essentially, the things that you did hit will reflect negatively against your final score, and then at the end of the game, we'll have a screen show the final score and give the player the option to play it again. And back on this title page here, I have I'll have social media icons down here. Maybe not these exact ones, but essentially players will be given the option to connect to their favorite social media so that when they finish the game they can post their scores and use that as a platform to compete against each other. The game itself could also contain its own scorekeeping built right in. So the name of the game that I'm thinking at this point is You're Late. Essentially, you've come to work late, hence why you are frantically running through the office. And then the main menu is very simple. It could have an animated kind of artwork in the background of a all cartoon style of the boss like pointing at you with an angry look on his face like get to work, and then the player clicks the button here. Then after that, the player is presented with this screen as pointed out earlier and can tap on left or right to move this player left or right and avoid these things. The player itself will always be at the bottom center of the screen, able to dodge these things, and given the illusion that they're running through the office as these different NPCs and things are falling towards them. Furniture can include desks, computers, chairs, garbage cans, things like that. And the three different NPCs that I have so far would be the customer, who, if you run into a customer instead of providing good service, they'll get angry, so you get more negative points, more stupid points for those guys. The coworker, they're not too happy if you're not pulling your weight around the office, so they're going to be pretty upset. You're going to get two points for hitting those ones. And the furniture is just worth 1 point if you run into it because it doesn't have any feelings or emotions. They won't really care that you ran into it, but I suppose you would be upset if you ran into it. And then the boss, of course, ends the game if you run into him. And then I also had the thought of different furniture. When a player runs into it, the game plays a different cutscene based on whatever furniture is run into. So for the rest of this kind of project here, I'm just going to make mock-ups of the other screens, which it's a very simple game. It doesn't really need very many screens. I basically need a cutscene screen. Let's spell that properly. Cutscene screen, and I need the game over screen. So for the cutscene screen, I just need the background. Now, do I have it go full screen, or do I have it just use this section that's in white here, the gameplay screen? I think there's no reason why I couldn't go full screen, really. In which case, it's going to be pretty simple, actually, because we'll essentially just have... I could get kind of fancy and just go with a rounded one. Yeah, we'll go like this for now. This is all subject to change, of course. This is all just concept at this point. I am taking courses through Toronto Film School at Yorkville University. It's an online program. And this is actually one of the assignments. But I figured it's also a good chance to sort of showcase what I've learned. Get some ideas out there. And of course feedback is always welcome. If you have any suggestions how to make this game perhaps even a little better, do leave a comment, but try not to be too harsh on the negative side. But of course, you know, if it stinks and I need to know that, well, I suppose that's something to do. Personally, I think any game concept really has a fairly chance of working, because look at some of the concepts that are out there that are absolutely stupid simple, but there they are, you know. I just posted a video to my gaming channel recently playing through a game called Line Rider. It's a very simple concept. The character draws a line, hits play, or the player rather draws a line, hits play, and the character just rides down the line on a sled. Doesn't get much more simple than that. And yet that game is going strong now for like 15 years at least, so. Cutscene screen, and now I'm going to go back here, and I think what I'm going to have, because, you know, if you've been playing through the game for like 10 minutes straight and running into things, you're going to get sick of seeing cutscenes. So, I'm going to have an option down here. I'll go with black because it's kind of the color I use for buttons. And we're going to make this one a circle, I think, just because why not? Simply allowing the player, oh that's way too small, to skip the cutscene, because after you've seen 10 million of these things you probably won't want to see anymore. Personally, I've played a lot of games where there's some big lengthy long introduction or cutscene of some sort that it won't let you skip, and it gets very annoying. Thought comes to mind is Pokemon games. Some of the opening gameplay is very, very filled with dialogue, and you just want to skip it and get into the game. Now I wonder if I could have a replay option too. But then that kind of counters out the whole thing of skipping the cutscenes because there's too many of them. So no, we will just go with the skip for now. Like I say, this is a concept, so for future we could add other things. Now the game over screen, I'm thinking it's going to be pretty similar to the main menu, except that instead of saying get to work, the button is going to say get back to work. I guess the boss rehired you. Instead of the boss firing you, actually, you have the boss threatening to fire you, and have a message that says, like, you know, keep it up and you're going to get fired. The boss never actually does fire you, but exactly, it just kind of puts the player a little on edge. Like, what if one day I can't restart the game? Just for clarification, I'll go like this. Something like that. There we go. I really like this font, this Bondschrift. Give or take my pronunciation. It looks like a German spelling anyway. It looks really nice. It's just really clean, condensed. It's a good little font. Yeah, how do I want to put this? Because I could have a series of different comments that the boss can say when the player gets fired, or when the player gets game over. I mean, essentially this will be the game over screen, so we'll put that up here. Oh yes, and we need the total score as well, so I'm going to have, yeah, okay, insert a threat from boss to fire player. I'm going to have to do this on its own. I don't know why the canvas moved over, but it did. We'll just click out, click back in, and I'm going to just drop the font from 84 to 72. It should work. Insert threat from boss to fire player. I feel like that's not a very good threat, because it sounds more like a compliment, like, keep that up. Something like that. Step out of line one more time and you're fired. And again, you can have sort of a... Actually, yeah, you could have... let's just grab like a gray, kind of lighter, darker gray. We need to have it sort of square. Have a little image like this with the boss waving his finger at you. So I'm going to go ahead and put the boss up there, and we'll go like this. It's already centered, perfect. Something like that. And we'll just drop the font size down one more. Grab this one again. Create one more square, or rectangle, I guess, right here. And then right here displays the score for that round. I feel like this could use some modifying. 48 and 72 is the only option, so we'll go 64. There we go. Something like that. Total score for this round. Get back to work. Does play again, which takes you back obviously to the gameplay screen. I'm just thinking down here you could have the social media things again with the share option. Hey, where did the cartoon, the boss thing go? That text deleted itself. I don't know why we have text just spontaneously deleting itself, but okay then. Yesterday I had the program just randomly create a new layer and I was editing on the wrong layer the entire time, so apparently that's just what these things do. There, something like this. Again, this is subject to further modification, but I think that's a pretty good little setup. You hit play again, it goes back to the gameplay screen, and really that's about all you need. You can have other screens later on when, say, I implement a shop where the player can buy avatar items or power-ups of some kind. You could have an option split this bottom section into 2 buttons, or like a smaller play again button, and have a couple other buttons saying, go to shop, buy items, or back from the main menu here you could also have such an option. But I think with that I'm going to leave this here. I think the concept generally is out there, and I plan to upload more to this channel as well as to my gaming channel, so stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.